Forget. There we go. Hello, Bailey. Hello, Paula. Come on, y'all. Come on up on screen. Good to see ya. All right. View gallery. There we go. Hello. All right. Happy Wednesday. We're here for Cooking Up Success. My trusty assistant, work wife, princess of all things, the Design Bakehouse, Hallie Agostinelli, our DJ, local resident, is not well today. So I've told her to keep her happy ass in bed. So we're going to be winging this together. So bear with me as I let people in and as I got to be DJ. That was fun. Hope you guys were enjoying that music. I hope you could actually hear it. So there we go. What are we talking about today? Let me pull up my notes. Okay, turning off yacht rock, talking about cooking up success. Oh, I know, we're talking about saying selective yeses. The Selective Yes Playbook is what we have nicknamed today. And that is so that we can break our own rules with strategy. So we will let everybody start coming in. We're going to be talking today about breaking rules, especially right now in today's market. Even here at ML Interiors Group, I have some very stringent rules that I've learned not to veer too far off the reservation with, because I get myself in trouble. But with the market the way it is today, I've found that we need to be a little more strategic in order to keep the cash flow flowing. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Feel free to come in off of, hold on, come on, show your face on the camera. Let me open my chat. Yes, hello, Bailey. Thank you for your comments. All right. So who am I? I see some of y'all have gone from call to call to call with me today, and I love seeing that. Thanks for being here. So you know who I am, but for those of you who are just now coming to hang out with us, my name is Michelle Lynn. I am the owner of ML Interiors Group, which is a nationally recognized interior design firm based out of Dallas, Fort Worth area. Over the years, my work has caught the attention of outlets like Forbes, Southern Living, Martha Stewart, MSN, recently named me as one of the top interior designers that you need to know, which is crazy to believe. But what really lights me up is helping like my fellow interior designers. Y'all, this is where I know the Lord has me, is because I love supporting women specifically. Men are fully welcome, but helping you to create the businesses that you love, that can be profitable, that you can have passion around it. You can scale to multiple six figures while just thriving in your element. So I do want to invite you that on October 6th, 7th, and 8th, back by popular demand, we are offering the Booked by Design workshop, which is like a client catching workshop. I'm going to drop that in the chat. So if you can attend that, it is free. It's only 3 days. It's not like our crazy 9-day workshop. But there's quite a bit of fun with that. So let me ask you guys while we're here are you anticipating a holiday push for your business? Are you offering holiday services? What are you anticipating for this last quarter of the year? October, November, December is the last quarter. What are you anticipating for the next few months? Do you expect to have a push to get a little bit busier because you're going to be offering some holiday services, because you have some clients who need a rush guest room decorated or whatever the case may be? Are you expecting it to slow down because of the holidays, or maybe you just don't even know? So like, where are you at right now? Busier for you as a landscape designer. Interesting, Bailey. So going into the holidays, you get busier. What about you guys? So for us with ML Interiors Group, We get busier because people want to wrap things up by the holidays. Yeah, I don't know what to expect, Amanda. Um, but we also just had a couple of meet and greets that were wanting to get busy, getting a couple things knocked out before the holidays, um, who just abruptly canceled. It was the weirdest thing. So Lauren, you have clients wanting design and items for the holidays. Awesome. Good, 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 good. So yeah, keep me posted on that. I'd love to hear what it looks like for you guys. Let's see. So let's dig in. I've got a pretty hard stop at 2 o'clock so I can get to an appointment. So let's talk about when you're breaking your own rules. Okay. When you break your own rules, it needs to be strategic. And what I mean is that when a big exception or when any exception can pay off, okay, versus a sloppy breaking of your rules and getting, get and hosing yourself basically. So we all have boundaries, okay, or you should, okay. If you need to have boundaries, you need to have rules, you need to have processes, you need to have a solid design, you need to have a solid contract, a solid scope of work. So these are your boundaries, okay? But what I've learned is that sometimes an exception can unlock an opportunity. And so we have to know how and when to go about recognizing when these exceptions are worth it. Okay, and which ones erode profit so that we can avoid those. And it's not just profit that can be eroded, it could be your sanity. Okay. So you could make a bucket of money, but lose your sanity. Or it could even be your brand. It could water down your brand. So these are the types of things that we want to talk about today, because right now I know that in this market, like even though I know better, I want to take almost any business that comes our way because it has been so hinky. Okay. So these are some parameters that I've put up for my team and I that I'm passing on to you in this training so you know how to discern when it's a good or bad idea as well. Have I thought about everything? No. But this is what I love to do. It's like I use my ML Interiors group as its own little laboratory. And then what I learn, I share. So let's dig into some of this. There are two types of exceptions, right? There's a strategic and there's sloppy. Strategic, that's made intentionally, and it should have a clear upside. Sloppy usually happens when it is from people pleasing or a fear of missing out. Okay, FOMO. So the clear upside on the strategic exception is maybe it's a VIP client, maybe it's PR exposure, or maybe it's some sort of an expansion of your portfolio that is not just for vanity, but for future benefits. Okay, letting people in. There we go. Okay, so it's for future benefits. The sloppy exceptions are when it can again cost you money, it can cost you your reputation, it can cost you your sanity, or diminish your branding. So an example of a strategic exception is actually one that we're in the process of engaging with right now. And it's a client who she's flipped multiple homes. Okay. She is very involved in the real estate community. But she's doing her own renovation for her home. And so she reached out to us and she said, I don't need your full service. Okay. But I do need help. And so normally we either do a designer for a day, which is our consultative, value-based packaging. Okay. Or we do full service concierge. Well, she doesn't really need that. What she needs is what we're joking about is like she needs a design wife. She needs somebody that she can bounce ideas off of, collaborate with, and basically just it's her own home. It's like, no, don't do that. You're going to regret it. Do this. This is going to be good. Or she brings us 3 of her own selections and we help her choose one. So this is not what we normally would do. I was just talking about this on the Interior Design Business Bakery call. It's like, this is not the most profitable method of consulting. Okay. But we're making this intentionally with a clear upside because of the networking groups that she's involved in that she's going to take us to. Okay. And I explained this to her. I was like, this is not what we normally do. And so we had this conversation. Other situations where we've made exceptions is where a client just wants us to bring to do a kitchen renovation and just hand them the design and we're not actually executing it. Now, this was a long time ago that we did this, and that was made out of fear of not having more projects in the pipeline. Okay. What that cost us was a lot. So we'll talk about that also. But what I want to first do is talk about this filter that I'm using for these selective yeses. Okay. So when I intentionally break my own rules, this is the filter that I'm running it through. Profit, brand, and let's just say capacity. Okay, so those are kind of the filters. The profit is, will this generate revenue, exposure, or relationships worth the effort? Okay, or worth working just outside of our general little bubble. Because when you work outside your general boundaries, okay, or your rules, things can go awry pretty quickly. So is this going to be worth the extra effort? Think about this. I have a 7-year-old and we go bowling and they put those little rails up to keep the ball going forward for her. Okay. So the ball stays going down the alley. Okay. Well, when you take those rails down, it goes into the gutter. That's like, if you break your own rules, you can be going into the gutter. That's what I'm likening it to. So will it generate enough revenue, exposure, or relationships worth the extra effort of trying to stay out of the gutter? Okay. So there's the profit potential, and it's not just money. Okay. Exposure, relationships. The brand. Does this reinforce my positioning or does it confuse my market? So we've recently had a lot of commercial projects reach out to us. I have no idea how they found us via Google. Somebody in from the waiting room. But we did not entertain a conversation with all of them because it confuses the market. And what I mean by that, it's not like everybody knows what projects we're working on, but it confuses our market by us getting involved in some of these large scale commercial because we're not fully capable of doing them. So it does not align with my brand that makes homes happier and more efficient. Okay, it's going to take my team longer to deliver. So that goes into the capacity and impact of my company. Do I have the resources to deliver it without burning out my team or myself in that respect? So these are just things that you want to filter if you're going to break the rules, will it generate revenue, exposure, or relationships worth the extra effort? No? Okay, you don't break the rule. Yes? Okay, let's explore this a little bit further. Does it reinforce my positioning or confuse my market? Yes, it confuses my market. Then let's not pursue this. I'm not going to be the best resource for you. Okay, now some of those commercial ones would have been a really pretty penny. Okay, and let's just say we were able to deliver on it. Does my team have the capacity to do so? Okay, going for that big bucks, but burning my team out, it doesn't necessarily make sense. Now, can we come up with a way to do it? Yeah, possibly. Putting other people on a wait list, saying no to other projects, promising an extended vacation at the end, like whatever, like there's ways to do it. But these are things we need to take a look at. So this is where the last little filter is the risk versus the reward. Okay, you always want to ask yourself, like, you could get the legal pad and put the pros and the cons. So basically, it's going to be what could go wrong and what's the upside. So what could go wrong? So for example, with this person that we talked to yesterday, what could go wrong with me going hourly with her? Well, what could go wrong is she could say no, because my hourly rate, we have our internal hourly rate that we use. I didn't use that rate, but I brought it down just a little bit, but it's still pretty high. So she could say no, because I'm not going to go to work for an amount that is not profitable. What could go wrong is that she doesn't feel like she's getting full service design, even though she doesn't want full service design. She doesn't need it. So she could get pissed off at us because we're not delivering full service design. Okay, but what's the upside? The upside is that she's got some really amazing contacts, and I've confirmed that, and she's going to introduce us. So the upside is that we're going to be meeting some potential future referrals or referral sources. Now, what I have learned is that oftentimes, like this person, let's give her a name. What was her name? Her name was Beth, actually. I was like, let's give her a name. Well, I can use her real name. Her name is Beth. So talking to Beth, I was able to qualify that what she's promising me is true. What's happened in the past is that I've had people say, hey, if you give me a discount on this, then I'll refer you to that. Okay, like I have this community of people that I know will hire you. You just need to give me a discount so that I can introduce you to them. Okay. Well, those are unseen promises. Those are unqualified promises. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that when you have those strategic exceptions, that you are qualifying them as it's not just a quick hit. Somebody's not just going to use you for their end result. Okay, I was talking to, I'm not sure if Tiff's on the call. I was talking to somebody earlier today in one of our calls, and she wanted to give her services to real estate agents to gift to their buyers to help them make decisions in the hope that she would get hired by the buyers. Well, there's no guarantee there. Okay, so you have to take a look and say, okay, well, what could go wrong? What could go right? Well, what could go wrong is that they never do introduce me. Okay. So when you are making these exceptions, you want to make sure that you are very specific and you frame it as an exception, as a special upgrade. Okay, so we don't usually offer X, but for your project, we can include it for Y fee. Okay, so we don't usually offer home staging, but for your project, since we're helping you move into your new house, I can do your home staging for a small fee. Okay, so you want to make it clear, we don't usually do this. I don't usually offer kitchen organization or move-in services, but for your project, we can include it for X for whatever fee. Okay, but then you also have to communicate your limits. Okay, this is a one-time exception. Our standard process resumes after this. So you just have to be very clear. You need to make sure that they understand that you are doing something special for them. You're not rubbing it in their face and saying that they owe you anything. Okay. But then on the other hand, if you want to say no, but you want to keep future doors open. Okay, it's that interesting balance because we want to please them, but you also don't want to hose yourself. So it's you can say something along the line of like, that's outside our scope right now, but let's revisit that for the next phase. So those are some situations where you want to have, you need to protect yourself, but you need to be very clear with your client that if you are making an exception, that it's a one-time fee. It's a one-time exception, so that they're not asking for the same things. Like, hey, can you organize my kitchen? Hey, can you organize my playroom? Hey, can you organize this? That's where you want to say, you know, we don't usually offer kitchen organizing services, but for your project, I can include it for this fee. So if they come back and they say, hey, can you organize my daughter's playroom? You can say, well, that's out of our scope right now. We can revisit that for the next phase. Okay. And maybe you get too busy and you don't do it. So you just play with that. But maybe you can organize the kitchen pretty easily and it's an extra cash infusion. You've already secured the client and it makes sense. So let me ask you this. In the chat, have you broken your own rules, and was it strategic or was it sloppy? Like, tell me in the chat one time where it was either strategic or sloppy. My sloppy was definitely going with the dude who said, if I can do his condo, he was in this really, it's a, what do you call it? A high-rise condo. And he said, if I could design his, he would host a party and tell everybody who his designer was. And I was young enough that I fell for that. Okay. Bailey's had people promise that and have seen no return on things like it. Yeah. So they might have good intentions, but how are they going to do that? So with my client yesterday, I've already got the names of the groups that she's involved in. So even if she reneges, my happy ass is going to show up at these groups when they meet and so forth. So have you been strategic about breaking your own rules, and has it worked out? All right. Well, not everybody at once. um, does anybody have a request that's sitting on, in your inbox right now? Do you want to run it through my filters? How did you kindly ask for that list? I basically told her the same thing. I was like, yeah, I've had people promise me before. And no disrespect to you, Beth, but I've had people promise me, so I'd love to see the groups that you're involved in and when do they meet? And she was totally cool. But it was that level of rapport. If I had felt really awkward asking her for it, then I would probably assume that she would not be a good person to be making an exception with. So Paula, it was just straight out. Because if she had hummed and hawed, then I would have thought, okay, then she's probably not going to deliver, or she's making this stuff up. So a lot of it is also trusting our gut. So Bailey's talking about bending over back as real estate agents, bending over backwards for real estate agents. Like, I'm going to guess, Bailey, that you probably, your little birdie in your gut was saying, oh, I'm not sure if this is a good idea. Like, maybe the first time we're excited about doing that, but when people keep asking and asking for more and more, like, listen to your instincts. Just listen to your instincts, because more often than not, your instincts are gonna go off and they're gonna say, oh, this isn't a good idea. And then your little FOMO is gonna be like, oh, but what if I miss out on this opportunity? What if they really are as cool as they say? Qualify it. Let's see. Ask them if they'd like to discount their commission. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, it's like, okay, so how is this gonna work? Like, so it's a lot of it is like, in my opinion, and this might just be my own little voices inside, is like, as women, we are conditioned to be kind and to be gentle and to not ask straightforward questions because we might be perceived as pushy or bitchy or whatever it is. But I just ask, just be straightforward. And you might even just give a little bit of a disclaimer. It's like, hey, I don't want to be I don't want to be rude or I don't want to offend you, but in my past, I've had experiences like this and they did not come to fruition. So I'd really like to make sure that we can honor this. So, you did work designing for a client that's a little out of your service area, but she ended up being one of your top clients, yeah. So lots of connections and referrals from her. I love that. And April has a repeat client like this. So yes, so when you do have these exceptions, that's the filters, like, well, can this pay off? And sometimes even with the best of our intentions, sometimes we are the bug and not the windshield. And what I mean by that is that it just doesn't work out the way we intended. So I'm glad to hear that that one worked out for you, Bailey. Not every yes is equal. So just keep that in mind. And sometimes when we say yes to what we think is going to be good, we rule out space in our schedule and our, just our ability to execute for the great. So choose strategically. Saying yes and breaking your own rules is intentional, but we need to be strategic. So if you're going to say yes to something that is going to be an exception to your rule, if you are removing any space on your calendar for the great clients, then it's time to reassess. I had a chick today in my interior design business bakery office hours who has said yes to a service that she has created that she did intentionally to start generating some quick cash. It has taken off so much that it's cannibalizing her calendar, so she cannot say yes to her full service interior design clients. So this is what we were talking about with her. I was like, okay, so now you need to start scaling this back so you have room for this. So it can easily overtake your intentions. So when you do go into any exceptions this week, next month, let's take a look at the filter. So let's go back through this real quick. If you haven't written it down or if you came in a little bit late, if you're going to break your own rules, here's the filters that I'm using right now. Will this generate revenue, exposure, or relationships worth the extra effort? So what's the profit potential? Okay. Does this reinforce my positioning as a brand, or does it confuse my market? Okay. And it doesn't have to, when I say confuse my market, it like nobody outside of my business necessarily knows that this is what I'm looking at doing, but it's just the overall perspective. Okay. Do I have the resources to deliver without burning out my team or myself? So there's profit potential, brand alignment, capacity. And then of course there is the risk versus the reward. What could go wrong and what's the upside? What are the pros and cons? So if you have situations that are coming up, run them through that. And you know what else I have? I have a downloadable Selective Yes cheat sheet. So when Hallie sends out the recap email, probably tomorrow, because she's sick today, for those of you who joined late, my right hand is under the weather. So it'll most likely be tomorrow, but we'll send you a Selective Yes cheat sheet, okay, with the recap of this content. So still keep those things in mind. We'll have a little bit of detail expanded for you. But let me know, how does this feel? Yes, I hope she feels better too soon today too. Corinne, thank you. I'm missing my work wife. But does this make sense to you? Because I very much preach, no, these are my rules, these are my boundaries. But sometimes there's exception, like every rule is made to be broken. I don't tell that to my daughter, but every rule is made to be broken. So with that, does that make sense? Can you see how this could be strategic in regards to your business? Hopefully so. Hopefully so. Last but not least, because I am going to drop off real fast here. I have an appointment in 15 minutes right around the corner. For those of you who just joined us a little bit late, I want to invite you to our workshop that starts on See you later, Bailey. That starts on October 6th. It is our Booked by Design. Hey, Erin, good to see you. Of course, we'll always add you. Booked by Design, it is our client catching workshop. This leads into what we call the Lead Lab. It's something that I'm offering now. It's a monthly membership that helps us in this weird market, talking about, you know, the trust recession. But the visibility is what we're working on, the marketing skills, the sales skills. See you soon, Paula. I'm gonna jet too. But I'd love for you guys to join us. It's 3 days, it's free. And there's some really great content that you can take away from there. So, oh, poor Jacqueline, I'm gonna admit her and then I'm gonna end. Then I'm gonna end this program. But if you guys need anything, watch for Hallie's recap email. We'll have everything in there for you. We'll have the link to the workshop, we'll have the recap, and then we will have some short scripts. So thanks for being here. Jacqueline, I think I just let you in. We're wrapping up. We will have the replay posted probably again tomorrow since Hallie's out today. So thanks for being here. It's good to see some of you guys on repeat today. Big hugs. If you guys are going to be in High Point at any point, make sure you come and say hello on the designbakehouse.com, the events. We'll share with you where I will be speaking in High Point. So we'll see you guys soon.